Hi everyone, I hope you're ready for the next two chapters of our book, High Tide in Hawaii, and we are on chapter 5, which is called Go. So here we go. Boca looked at Jack and grinned. Ready, he asked. Oh, remember, so they got to the cliff, and below Jack saw the waves crashing against the beach, and he thought, uh-oh, so let's see what happens. Boca looked at Jack and grinned. Ready, he asked. I'm ready, said Annie. Where do we get our surfboards? Down there, said Kama, and she pointed to a rocky path that led to the beach. Let's go, said Annie. Annie, Boca, and Kama slowly started down the path. Jack followed them, but he was moving more slowly and more carefully. When he stepped onto the beach, Jack slipped off his shoes. He dug his toes into the dry, warm sand. It felt as soft as silk. Actually, I wouldn't mind just taking a walk on the beach, he said to the others. But no one seemed to hear him. They all had already walked over to a row of wooden surfboards propped against the rocks. Boca picked out a long board and lugged it over to Jack. For you, he said. Jack took the board and looked up at it. It was as tall as his dad. Isn't this a little big for me? He asked. Boca shook his head. He chose a board for Annie. Then he and Kama grabbed a couple for themselves. And here they are at the beach. And you can see Jack over here looking hesitant, not wanting to go. And here's the other kids all with their surfboards ready to go. Jack took a deep breath. I'd like to read a little bit about surfing first, he said. He put down his board and pulled out the research book. What is that? Asked Kama. It's a book, said Jack. It tells you about things. How does that thing talk? Said Kama. It doesn't talk, said Annie. You read it. Kama looked confused. Jack, forget about the book now, said Annie. Let's just do what Boca and Kama tell us. She headed for the ocean, lugging her board. Jack sighed and put the book away. He left his backpack in the sand. He picked up his board and followed the others. They all stopped at the edge of the water. First, we need to get past the breaking waves, said Kama. Then we'll show you what to do next. Together, they waded into the cool, shallow water. These waves don't seem that big at all, Jack thought, hopefully. But as he waded deeper into the ocean, the breaking waves began to look bigger and bigger. When the first wave hit him, Jack leaned against it, lifting his board, and he nearly fell over. Kama, Boca, and Annie moved farther out into the ocean. Jack watched as a wave loomed over them. They all threw their boards over it and dove into it. Jack struggled forward. The next time a big wave came toward him, he threw his board over it, holding his glasses tightly, and he ducked under. When Jack stood up again, he wiped the water from his eyes and glasses. His surfboard was close by. He grabbed it before the other wave came. Jack kept fighting his way forward. By the time he got past all the breakers, the water was up to his chest. We'll paddle out to catch a big wave, said Boca. Jack frowned. But don't worry, Jack, said Kama. It'll be fun. Boca and Kama pulled themselves onto their boards. They lay on their bellies and began paddling with their hands out to sea. Jack and Annie lay down on their boards too. Paddling over the gentle waves, Jack relaxed. Now this was something he could do all day. When I say go, paddle fast back toward the shore, said Kama. When do we stand up, said Annie. When you start moving towards the shore, said Boca. Stand up with 1 foot forward. Stretch your arms out to keep your balance. But don't try to stand up the very first time. Just ride your board on your belly. I see a wave coming now, said Boca. Wait, said Jack. Everything was happening too fast and he had so many questions. Go, Kama shouted. Jack saw a big wave rolling toward them. And before he knew it, Boca, Kama, and Annie were all paddling towards the shore. Jack paddled like crazy just to keep up. Suddenly, the wave lifted him up and swept him forward. Jack zoomed toward the shore with an amazing speed. Out of the corner of his eye, he saw Boca, Kama, and Annie all standing up. Look at this cool picture here. So here's Jack. He's riding the wave on his belly. And if you can see on this side, there's the other three up, and it looks like Annie was actually able to get up too on her first time. Jack wanted to be like him. In a flash, he went up on his knees. He put his left foot forward and stood up. For 1 second, he felt like a soaring bird. Then he lost his balance. Jack fell into the water, grabbing his glasses just in time. The wave crashed down on top of him. Water filled his mouth and went up his nose. His board and his lei were swept away. Jack twisted and turned in the churning water. and when his head bobbed up above the water, he choked and coughed. And then another big wave crashed on him, and he went under again. When he came up, he plunged forward, desperately trying to get to the shore. Again and again, Jack was thrown down and slammed by the breaking waves. But each time he got up and hurled himself closer to the shore. Finally, Jack dragged himself out of the ocean. Feeling bruised and battered, he fell onto the sand. Poor Jack. I don't think he's having very much fun. And this takes us to chapter 6 called Shake Up. Jack, cried Annie as she ran to him. Are you okay? Jack just nodded. He put on his wet glasses. He felt shaky and mad at himself. Oh, I never should have tried to stand up, he thought. Kama picked up Jack's surfboard from the shallow water and brought it over to him. I told you not to stand, she said, laughing. You fell hard. It's not funny, thought Jack. I nearly drowned. The best thing to do right now is to go right back out, said Boca. Oh, you go, said Jack. His eyes and nose burned from the salty water. I'm going to stay right here. He walked over to his backpack, picked it up, and took out the research book. Come on, Jack, said Annie. Try it again. Just stay on your belly this time. No, this time I'm going to read about surfing first. Oh, you should just try it again, said Annie, not read about it. She ran to him and pulled the book out of his hands. Jack jerked it away from her, and he slipped and fell onto the stand. Kama and Boca laughed again. Why are you laughing? Jack snapped. You don't even know how to read. Boca and Kama looked hurt. Jack, said Annie, that was really mean. You need to say you're sorry. Jack opened his book and pretended to read it. He did feel sorry, but he was too upset to say so. Fine, just stay here, said Annie. She went back to Boca and Kama. Let's go. As Jack sat alone on the beach, he looked up from his book. He watched the other kids paddling through the water. I don't care, he muttered. I'm never going to go back out in those waves again. Morgan didn't send us here to go surfing anyway, he thought. She told us to build a ship. But how in the world are we supposed to do that? Jack heaved an angry sigh. Now he was getting cross with Morgan. That means he was getting angry and frustrated with her. He turned to the back of the research book and looked in the index for the word ship. Suddenly, Jack heard a rumbling from under the sand. The ground started to shake. The ground shook so hard the book flew out of Jack's hands. Jack bounced up and down on the beach. Shells were jumping up and down too. Rocks tumbled off down from the cliff. This must be an earthquake, thought Jack. Then the rumbling stopped. Then the shaking stopped. And Jack looked around. Everything was normal again, except some of the rocks rolled around at the bottom of the cliff. Jack looked out to the sea. Kama, Boca, and Annie were past the breakers. They were sitting on their surfboards, laughing and talking. Everything seemed okay. But Jack felt sure that something was wrong. He grabbed the Hawaii book from the sand. He looked up earthquake and he read, Earthquakes in Hawaii have been known to, Earthquakes in Hawaii have been known to cause tsunamis, which used to be called tidal waves. An earthquake can cause water out at sea to be set in motion. The water will grow higher and higher as it moves toward the land. Just before the tsunami strikes, water may pull away from the shore. Then it returns in a gigantic wave that crashes over the land and washes everything away. Oh man, thought Jack, a tsunami might be coming. Dun, dun, dun. And that takes us to chapter 7 called Ride for Your Lives. Oh, friends, I'm feeling so worried. Are you feeling worried for Jack and Annie? Oh my goodness, if a tsunami comes, they are in trouble because they're right near the shore where it would hit. Whew, you're definitely going to have to tune in tomorrow to find out what happens. So tomorrow we'll read chapter 7 and 8. So I hope you join me to find out what happens. It's going to be hard for me not to read ahead, but I'm going to wait and read it with you, friends. All right, I love you. Hope you tune in tomorrow. I'm going to be worried about Jack and Annie all day. I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.